So what I want to do really briefly, just go through the history of the council, talk about the council's mission, our current kind of developments and update, our 5 pillars and our next steps. So as many of you may know, obviously back in 2016, there was a national cybersecurity strategy, and the government really wanted to develop and accredit the cybersecurity profession. And so the kind of thoughts and consultations was around that, so articulated that quite clearly. And what we're really looking for is a focal point in which we can advise, shape and inform national policy. So the government was really clear on setting an organisation up to do that. In 2018, in the UK government national cyber skills strategy, there was obviously conversations around the development of an independent body, that's UK Cybersecurity Council, ourselves. We're real focused on developing a framework for cybersecurity specialisms and alignment to career pathways. In 2019, there was a formation, what they call a formation project. So 16 organisations led by IET, so the Institute of Engineering and Technology, very much commissioned by DCMS, to really lead the organisation around developing the real work of the council. The outcome of that really was to set a kind of clear vision and mission. So one of the key aims was for the organisation to be a regulatory body for the UK cybersecurity profession, to support the government's national cybersecurity strategy to make the UK the safest place to live and work online, and to develop and promote national standards and recognise national standards for cybersecurity. One of the outcomes of that was the career route map, but again, you can find all this information on our website, which really focuses very much on the 16 specialisms that currently exist. There may be more, there may be slightly less, it depends on how you look at it, but for us it's important to have the first step in developing that career route map. So in 2021, the council was officially formed, and it becomes a basic independent entity with 4 directors called the founding directors. In July 2021, the council was granted charitable status. In September 21, I was appointed as a CEO, and the organisation membership scheme basically opened for the organisation. In November 21, we were granted royal chartership by the Queen, and there was also the launch of the Decrypting Diversity Report, which was commissioned by NCSC and written by KPMG. And in December 2021, the National Cyber Strategy was launched. In January 2022, just giving an update on some of the work, I think, of the council, ourselves, NCSC and DCMS basically had strategic meetings, and that's really about how we can basically collaborate and work together to really develop both the kind of mission, vision and work collaboratively around kind of delivering on the national cyber strategy. In February, where we are now, the UK-wide national DCMS Consultation Roadshows. This is the first of 4, so also including Scotland, Wales and England. The UK-wide UK CSC Standards and Careers Roadshow. So our first one's taking place this Friday, and that's for Northern Ireland. But again, it's going to be a national roadshow. The Standards, Ethics and Careers Working Groups have basically been established. And then moving forward in March, we're looking to obviously to respond to the consultation. And this is obviously part of that, really getting the information again from delegates. And for us as an organisation, really getting the views of the board, our executive and also our organisational members. So we will be consulting our organisational members. And then we're focused also on thematic standards and career route map development. So as one of our kind of key drivers, I think, as an organisation as we move forward. Continuing with our UK-wide national roadshow and doing thematic events, including International Women's Day and the London Symposium, which is focused on our financial technology and cyber. We basically have 5 key pillars that we focus on, I think, as the organisation. So pillar 1 is around professional standards, and that's really about developing the professional standards for the cybersecurity profession. Pillar 2 is around professional ethics. What's the kind of code of conduct? What's the professional ethics in which we need to operate within the sector? Careers and learning, very much linking to the careers, the accreditation, qualifications, the career route map, how to basically get into the career. Pillar 4 is very much around outreach and diversity. So how do we encourage different people from different, obviously, race, genders, etc., to join the sector and really going out to the market, because it's a new sector. It's a new kind of occupation in comparison to engineering, accounting, etc. So really doing the outreach so people are aware of the profession and the great opportunities that exist. And also diversity, it's really trying to diversify the sector. And pillar 5, thought leadership. So really in relation to all of those areas from pillars 1 to 4, how can we lead in relation to thought leadership, influence consultation, influence the government, influence the kind of thought leadership within the sector. Our next steps is really to very importantly, align to the work of the National Cyber Strategy, to develop the professional standards and the career roadmap, to form strategic alliances to support our organisational objectives, to engage with the sector as part of our strategic developments, to implement the chartered organisational requirements, and to develop a fit-for-purpose organisational structure. So hopefully that gives you a basic overview of the organisation, what we've done, where we've come from in relation to our history and where we're going. And there's going to be a lot more. One of the key things for me is really interested in the output from the consultation and how that will inform how we work as an organisation. But I think it's really important that we, one, engage in the kind of conversation and in the development of the organisation itself. So thank you very much. That was hopefully a whistle-stop tour, just a basic overview. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening. What I will do now, thank you. What I'll do now, I'd like to hand over to Simon Whitaker. So Simon Whitaker is from Northern Ireland Cyber. He's going to do a brief presentation about the work taking place in Northern Ireland. A lot of really good engagement. I'm really pleased to introduce Simon. Thank you, Simon. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Simon. I don't think the third speaker is going to be called Simon as well, but if you know, obviously we might insist upon that, just to keep things right. Firstly, thank you very much for coming along today. It's great to well, see, all I can see is me at the moment, but it would be great at some point to see everybody else. It's great to have representatives from DCMS and from the new UK Cybersecurity Council. You know, kind of coming to talk to us in Northern Ireland today. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I also just want to, you know, I'm not going to take too long, and I'm not going to read out my slides at you or anything like that. What I am going to do is just give you a brief introduction to NI Cyber, what we do, why we're here, you know, how we started, and a few bits and pieces like that. And I'm also just going to kind of talk about, you know, some of the things we would like to do more of in the future as well. Okay, so just you know, again, just a little bit of an idea about what we're up to. So Northern Ireland Cyber, firstly, started, gosh, the initial, I remember our first lunch that we had must have been about 7 or 8 years ago now, and we just had a chat and thought about, you know, what we wanted to do, and you know, there were a few people around the table, and then we left it for a while, and we didn't, you know, we were just kind of sat back a wee bit. Now we are starting to be much more formal. Over the last kind of couple of years or so, we've really started to become much more formalized about how we run NI Cyber. We're still very much in our infancy. We're still not addressing all the needs of our members. We're still not addressing everything that we want to do, but we're getting there. We are going to get there, and we've got some great support to help us to do that. So we've got to think about why we exist. Well, you know, we wrote this down as a mission statement. We're actually in the process of recreating, you know, what our mission statement is, working with some fantastic people to help us to understand and think about that, and more importantly, to ask our members what they want. And I'm going to introduce some of our members in a wee second, because I think that they're really worthwhile having a chat with and a discussion with. What I would say is that Northern Ireland has a great reputation in cybersecurity, and one of the things that we want to really do is to increase that reputation, because we are really good at this stuff. We've got some great companies doing some fantastic things, and what we're trying to do is to, as a cluster, as a group of organisations, to identify opportunities for business and international collaboration and promote career opportunities in cybersecurity. So it talks to some of the pillars that you know, that Simon was talking about there. That we're really trying to hit. It's been, the NI Cyber has been formalized a little bit more over the last couple of years. We were lucky enough to receive some funding from Invest Northern Ireland, and I'll talk more about that in a second, and what that means and how, you know, how that works over here. It's been a lot more formalized. We've had the fantastic support of CSIT, and my colleague Judith Miller from CSIT is an integral part of what this what NI Cyber is and how it operates. You know, we meet once a week, twice a week, whatever it is, and you know, it is phenomenal how much everything relies on Judith and also Gillian, who is a key part of what we do. CSIT have supported us, through Judith's time, and also through providing locations and things like that for us to all get together. Couldn't have done it without any of their work. So about 2 years ago, we started off with a collaborative growth network application from Invest Northern Ireland. Okay, and Invest Northern Ireland is something that we're very, very lucky to have over here, and they're a great group of people, and their role is really to help us Northern Irish companies to think better, think differently, think larger, and so there's a lot of evidence that shows that working as a cluster helps us to all appear to be better and to all become better, to work collaboratively as opposed to in a silo. So what they did is they set up this collaborative growth network. We applied for that, and we're fortunate enough to be put through. That allowed us to write a scoping paper really for the phase 2, and that's where we're starting to get to now. So the phase 1, very similar to Simon's speech there. The phase 1 was really what do we need? What are we trying to do? Why are we doing this? Who can we help? What can we make better? Things like that. And we were starting to understand those things, and we'd appointed a facilitator, and then COVID kind of came in and spoiled so many parties. But we went on, we carried on, we shifted a little bit to be, trying to support organizations as we went through the pandemic, through helping organizations to move to the digital, the digital world, and providing cybersecurity support around that. So we have support from Invest Northern Ireland. Fantastic, great organisation. If you're working in Northern Ireland, you should get in touch. The Collaborative Growth Network scheme is just one of many that they offer to help organisations be better and be bigger. We also have the Northern Ireland Cybersecurity Centre, the NICSC, not to be confused, obviously, with the NCSC. Over here, we've got a chap, Joe Dolan, who runs our Northern Ireland Cybersecurity Centre. Fantastic chap. He is leading the way in helping us to understand, what we should be doing. I've worked with Joe for a number of years now in various different areas. I'm also a member of the Northern Ireland Civil Service Strategic Level Cybersecurity Steering Group. If you like acronyms, then this is definitely the industry to come and see. So that's the NICSSG for anyone who's keeping score. What we're trying to do with that is to bring together private, public, and third sector into the same space, provide expert opinion and direction. Okay, so what we're trying to do is to bring everyone together. I'm very aware of the fact that there are lots of things happening in Northern Ireland and lots of things happening, and they're very fragmented sometimes. And Joe and his team have been helping to bring all of those things together. We've also received, from our side, we've also had some commercial assistance. So Carson McDowell have been supporting us for the last couple of years, and they are their role really is to provide an expert voice. They've done things like provide workshops for our clients, for our members, for things like that. So it's a brilliant thing. So yeah, so that's a little bit of the history of Northern Ireland Cyber, and where we've come from, and the support that we've got. I also just want to mention our members, because the members are a core to what we do. We've got a lot of very, very brilliant members, and I'm just going to put a spotlight on a couple of them. Sorry, I'll come back to that slide in a wee second. I'm going to start with these member companies. So just to highlight a couple, Be Secure, very, very cool technology, does things like authentication through the rhythm of your heart. Absolutely fantastic. That's a brilliant thing. And the idea, in the longer term, is to get it put into things like your watch. So your watch authenticates you through this individual item that knows that it is you. You get into your car, drive off, and you know that it's all sorted. Then you've got people like ourselves at Vertical Structure, who are cybersecurity consultants. We do penetration testing, we do training, and we do implementation of information security policies, assisting with ISO. So, there's that massive gap there between be secure and vertical structure, not just in the first letters of our company names. We've also got organizations like Leopa, again, a very cool tech company. They're doing things like authentication through the movement of your lips. So, if you see the sneakers moving, my voice is my password, things like that, it's but about the movement of your lips, not the way your voice sounds. So that's really cool technology again. And then, we've also got members like Angoka, who they do solutions to protect machine-to-machine communications from cyber threats. They create trusted connectivity over zero trust networks. It's all about identity and data provenance for them. And then also Amplify, fantastic company, really, really lovely group of people. They're working to help you secure your SaaS applications that are in use within your organization. We've all been aware, I'm sure, of shadow IT and all the bits and pieces of fun and frolics that come along with that. So we've got, and what I'm trying to do here is to kind of present the range of companies that we've got. It's really the stuff they're doing is absolutely fantastic. So what else are we going to, what have we done? Well, NI Cyber as an organization, we've been working to do things like the report for our stage 1, so that we can prep and start getting into the stage 2, which is happening now. During the pandemic as well, we started doing a few bits and pieces remotely, obviously, about how to help protect oneself when starting the shift to digital. We work with a lot of different organisations, including NICVA in Northern Ireland, the Community and Voluntary Association, to provide some webinars and some thoughts around that from some of our brilliant members. We also did a bit of a podcast, the podcast that we did was more about recruitment and skills and diversity than about focus on our members. But the first one focused on Microsoft and the way in which they had recruited people through the Skills Academy scheme in Northern Ireland, which is this brilliant program where people who have a set of qualifications, whether that's a degree in English or an HND in whatever, it doesn't matter. They were able to then go along and do a skills academy to go and learn how to work in cybersecurity or to work in as a developer. There was a DevOps one as well, so to do DevOps skills. So in that, and one of the things I found brilliant was that we had 2 people that we were interviewing. We had Katrina and we had Carl. Carl used to be a plumber, didn't enjoy it. Well, or he did enjoy it, but realized he wanted to do something else. And he took part in the Skills Academy, shifted his focus, and is now excelling at Microsoft. He's now a really high flyer. He's doing brilliant stuff. One of the things he was very keen to talk about was that during his process, his interview process, Microsoft brought in Specialistern. So they brought in somebody, which is a charity in Northern Ireland, to help people who are autistic or on the autistic spectrum, to help them to find careers, find jobs that and support people in those situations, which is. It's awesome that Microsoft were thinking about that, so the interview process was different. They did it in a specific way that was designed to help anybody who might have additional needs. And Carl absolutely excelled in that. And now, as I say, he's doing fantastic work. We also then had Katrina, and Katrina was used to be a ballet teacher, used to run a ballet school, and decided that she wanted to try something else. And so cyber was what she decided to do. She's the advert from last year or the year before, which is the Fatima. Fatima's next career is in cybersecurity. In Katrina's case, it actually was. And she's now, again, working with Microsoft, doing some absolutely awesome stuff. And it was brilliant just to hear about their experiences of getting employed, especially at later stages in their career. They're not 18. I think they both allow me to say that. They're not 18 coming out of school or 21 coming out of university or whatever. They were more experienced people. And so what we were trying to do was to share stories like that of our clients and our members, and people who were doing some very, very interesting things. While I'm on the subject of clusters, which we were just a wee second ago, I also just wanted to introduce these. This is a map that was taken from the report that we did, and this kind of just shows some of the clusters that are out there in Northern Ireland and further afield. So you can see there's great big clusters around here, and there's a standing call. I think the next one is on Tuesday, with the UK cybersecurity clusters, and we've been very lucky to get some funding from the UK cluster organisation, and that has been absolutely fantastic to help us get things going. So just recapping, so collaboration, mutual support and growth. We've got startups, we've got SMEs, we've got multinational companies, academia through the brilliant people at CSIT, industry accreditation bodies. So we've got representatives from those organisations, we're getting there. We're getting there, one step at a time. So this is from our report. One of the things I want to kind of demonstrate at the bottom, there is convincing evidence that companies working in collaborations and clusters are more innovative and consequently more successful and profitable. That's what we're starting to look at. What about me from my side? Well, I'm really interested in promoting Northern Ireland Cyber. This is currently for me this is a volunteer role. I put my Northern Ireland Cyber, my NI Cyber hat on, or my vertical structure hat, depending on which day of the week it is. Whatever day of the week it is, I'm interested in growing Northern Ireland Cyber. I would like Northern Ireland Cyber industry to be better at what we do, to represent globally, and to have the best of the best. I want us to be a place where people come for cyber-related recruitment, for cyber-related roles, and for cyber-related companies. That's what I'm really interested in getting sorted out. So what's next? We're going to research and understand our members' needs and requirements. We're doing that at the moment with our phase 2. Removing barriers to growth for our cyber ecosystem. So working out how we do that is obviously the challenge. The skills issue. We always hear about this skills issue. In Northern Ireland, again, we're very lucky. We've got some fantastic support. We have things like there's an organisation called Work Plus who are really fighting to get apprentices into various different places. And we're really, really pleased to be seeing them around and about. Also, we are. I am personally a Cyber First ambassador with the UK with the National Cybersecurity Centre, so the NCSC. I'm a Cyber First ambassador, and that means that I am helping to promote cybersecurity as an industry to the young people around. We're taking part in things like the Cyber First Girls competition, trying to encourage more young women into our industry, hopefully that is having an impact. Want to work more closely with our colleagues in UK, Ireland, and further afield, and we're also very keen on kind of keeping our keeping everybody up to date with what we're doing. So things like this, where we get to hear from the DCMS and from Simon and his team at the new UK Cybersecurity Council, is really, really interesting. I do see a question in there. I think we might come back for questions later. Is that am I correct in saying that? We'll hold off on that. I'm very happy to answer now, but what would you like me to chat further about that, or will we do that at the end?
Yeah, we'll take questions at the end, Simon. It's part of the panel. That's absolutely fine.
Brilliant stuff. I'll make sure I get to you, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous User. Thank you very much. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Simon Hepburn, and if there are any questions, I will put my email address up on the screen, and I'll pop it into the chat at some point as well, so that you can see.
Excellent, thank you. It's really interesting. I think we're really pleased that we've basically focused on working with the devolved nations, and this is a really good example why, because what you've basically shared is some of the great work that's taken place in Northern Ireland, and I think if we've done this just as a UK-wide then everyone trying to have it quite challenging. So really hearing the specifics around what is taking place in Northern Ireland and the great work and the great collaborations is impressive. So that, yeah, thank you, and definitely well done. I think it's really good that you gave some examples of things around career changes. So where basically people's joined, done specific things around skills development, and then joining the sector. And I think they obviously work with people like Microsoft, etc. I think they're, again, really good examples, and examples of how people can join the sector and career change, and obviously join our profession, which I think is absolutely essential. And I think the also highlighting the importance of collaboration. So wanted to absolutely be around the table, to have the conversations, to share what you're doing and what you're doing within Norway, also to collaborate across UKC3 and across the country and with the other devolved nations is really great. So it's probably really impressive. So thanks a lot, Simon. Thanks for that. Well done. And well done to the team in Northern Ireland. Absolutely. Excellent. So what I would like to do now, I'd like to introduce Amina. Amina is a senior social policy advisor for DCMS, and she'll be doing a brief presentation on obviously the consultation, and also and then obviously answering any questions at the end when we basically go as part of that panel conversation. So this is the mainstay of the event. So not too much pressure, Amina. And I hope we don't have, obviously we've got, around the country there's storms taking place. What we don't want is any storms in the conversations. So let's just keep it nice and light. So over to Amina.
Hello, everyone. So I'll just go through our presentation and then we can do a Q&A at the end. So our consultation is around the cyber profession and the most effective ways to embed standards and pathways across the profession by 2025. So our ambition and evidence base is our first thing that we'll look at. Then we'll look at the current situation and the rationale for doing the consultation. And then we'll go through our policy proposals, including our legislative and non-legislative measures, and then we'll go to our next steps. So our ambition. Our ambition is based around, as Simon was explaining, the integrated review, which set out the ambition of cementing the UK as a responsible and democratic cyber power. The National Cyber Strategy of 2022 also reinforces this to ensure our ecosystems are strengthened and investment is made in our people and skills. So to meet our ambition, we know a skilled and growing cyber workforce is essential. Our focus must be to ensure that there's a sustained and scaled supply of diverse and high quality cybersecurity professionals and across the labour market more broadly, so not just in particular sectors. We know the current situation, there is a big skills gap and a skills shortage. We know there is an annual shortfall of 10,000 practitioners, and we know that from our labour market survey. And we also know that there's a skills gap where businesses do not have the basic skills. So 50% of businesses do not have the basic skills to meet the requirements of their business. And we know that 33% of businesses have an advanced skills gap and do not have the skill set to meet their business requirements. We know that the career pathways for individuals going into the sector are unclear and hard to navigate. And we know that once they are in the sector, they're finding it hard to move around. We also know that employers are finding it hard to employ people. They're not sure who or what to put on JDs, and each area of work, so penetration testing is unclear, where there are people doing multiple roles are in one job description. So we need that clarity. And employers are finding it hard to employ people in that regard. And then employees are finding it hard because they're not sure what skills are needed to go into particular areas of work. So that's something that we're looking to address. We also know that the diversity within the sector is not what we want it to be. We know that there are only around 16% of females and 17% of Black and minority ethnic people across the sector. And even lower levels of people with disabilities in the sector. We want that to be more equal and increase. So the role of the Cybersecurity Council. We know DCMS funded the creation of the UK Cybersecurity Council. So we know through Simon's presentation what is expected of the council and what they'll be developing over time. We would like the Cybersecurity Council, the UK Cybersecurity Council, to be the professional authority. We would like it to set standards across the profession and bring together the existing certification and qualification bodies under one umbrella, and make it clearer for people to go into and navigate through the sector. So the consultation is setting out the strategic ambition over the next 3 years. So we would like the council to get the right amount of support from government and ensure that it is made a success. We look at legislative measures, looking at the viability of the council to regulate the use of titles by cyber professionals. We're also not considering licensing by activity. We want to ensure that we raise the standards and recognise competence rather than bringing in additional barriers into a sector that already has a skills gap and a skills shortage. We also look at non-legislative measures. So these are measures that government can play in embedding the council as a professional standard body across cybersecurity. So that could be through government procurement levers and people applying for government contracts. And then our next steps. So the consultation closes on the 20th of March. So we're hoping everyone is able to send responses in with an ambition to publish a government response in June. So we can go to our Q&A.
Thank you very much, Amina. And I think is one of the final points I think you raised there was the whole thing around developing the importance of developing standards and raising professional standards, but also not creating any barriers to people joining the sector. And I think that's a really important point. So what we'd like to do is invite Simon back to the panel, please, and then we will take some questions that are on the screen. Lovely, thank you, Simon. Lovely. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, key questions. Will NI Cyber be working with the council? What will be the work of alignment? So just comment.
So will I jump in from my side? The goal is that NI Cyber will be working with anybody who will work with us. We want Absolutely. Is that all right? Yes, sorry. So we want to work with anyone who wants to work with us to understand a little bit more about cybersecurity in Northern Ireland. We are interested in helping out with with lots of different organisations. So we currently have relationships with Cyber Ireland in the Republic of Ireland, who are doing a very similar and very absolutely brilliant job. They have a full-time facilitator, Owen Byrne, who is just awesome at bringing everybody together, and a really engaged group of companies as well. Yes, and also, sorry, we're working with the FinTech Corridor, which is a group of FinTech organizations, and our role with FinTech Corridor is to help them to understand a little bit more about why cyber is important to the fintech industries. So I think that's really good as well. When it comes to working with the UK Cybersecurity Council, yes, we want to be part of what's happening. We're part of UKC3, as I say. We're also part of working with with the National Cybersecurity Centre, the Northern Ireland Cybersecurity Centre, and my company, Vertical Structure. We have, we were one of the first members to sign up to the UK Cybersecurity Council. This is an important thing. We want to be able to drive professional standards. We want to be able to provide vision on the future. So yes, from our side, absolutely. And I hope Simon Hepburn absolutely agrees with that as well. But I'll let him answer that.
No, absolutely, Simon. This is Simon and Simon. No, 100%. I think it's really important that we have the right kind of collaboration and engagement. It's important that I think it's for the council that we North Scotland, Wales, and England. And I think the partnerships that we've been forming and the conversation we've been having and getting involved in, understanding the pillars got that right alignment. So I think we've had a really good start, and I know those relationships will continue to build and grow.
Brilliant.
Things are slightly slow on. Is it my side? Is everyone here? I don't know if it's my side, anyone else's side.
So from my side, Simon, you're a little bit.
Another question that I've got is around the
choppy.
Simon, yours is stronger. There's another question, which is around: Is the government consultation proposals to introduce compulsory regulation and registration of the council?
Oh, I think we've lost.
I think we've lost his
lost the man himself. Oh, there he is. Amina, do you want to?
No, I'm still. I'll tell you, we've still got a good signal.
I can take this one. So the government consultation doesn't propose compulsory regulation. We're not looking at licensing activity. What we are looking to do is bring in a body to look at the certification and qualifications across the sector and to bring in some clarity and make it easier to get it. So licensing and compulsory regulation is not something we're looking at.
If I maybe jump, just say from my side, while we are, we are an industry body, we're represent Northern Ireland Cyber, hopefully. Also, as a company, I have mixed feelings about compulsory regulation and registration of the profession. It's a complicated thing to get people anyway, and adding more barriers into the way is maybe not necessarily the way forward. So it's really interesting to hear that from you, Amina, about about that what might be happening. So thank you.
Excellent. Next question. We've got a question.
I'm sorry, Simon. I've lost your sound there again. I think you might have lost your sound again there. There's a question there. Sure, if I can, I'll just take over and. We're getting Lisa maybe coming in here. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, just coming in to ask some of the questions that are coming in to the panel. So can you please discuss any alignment with international standards such as the NICE framework, and how you won't be reinventing the wheel? That's coming from Sean Hannah.
Shall I?
Please, Simon, I think.
Yes, no problem at all.
I think Simon still got sound issues.
Yes, and hello there, Sean. Nice to see you. Thanks so much for coming along. One of the things to be anyone in Northern Ireland to be aware of is that, yes, we hear you, Simon Hepburn, is that Northern Ireland is a small place and lots of us know one another very well. So Sean, thank you very much for coming along there. So your question there was around the the kind of alignment with international standards. I have no say in this, as it were, but my requirement is that we don't reinvent the wheel. It's absolutely vital that we use what's there. We, as part of the Northern Ireland Civil Service steering group that I'm on, we've been going through the 5 pillars and trying to kind of align the message and the strategy with those 5 pillars for the Northern Ireland Cybersecurity Centre. So I'm pretty confident that Simon and Lisa and the team and Amina, you will be reusing and where applicable. Would that be right? Let's see if you're there, Simon.
100%. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, I do apologise. I think one of the leads was slightly waddling, and so I do apologise. So yes, so I would see all this movement taking place, and I wasn't actively involved. But just to answer the question, exactly as you said there, Simon, I think as an organisation, it's really important we don't reinvent the wheel. If there's really good information or standards frameworks, we do look to use anything that's obviously within the UK or wider afield to really inform our work and our development. So it's really important that people do know that, yes, we're using NIST and all the different kind of frameworks that basically exist. And that was used as part of the formation project. So I think what we looked was, again, nationally and internationally, see how we could basically develop standards based on best practice. So that work basically continues, but we're always looking at the additional frameworks. Thanks for that question, Sean. Jeff?
Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Lisa.
I was just going to ask the panel another question that's come in from Jeff Simpson.
Perfect.
And it's to all 3 panelists. How should we engage more business leaders to act on the outcomes of the consultation?
That'd be interesting. Amina first.
How should we engage more business leaders? I suppose it's encouraging them to show them what the outcomes of the consultation could be, what the proposals are, how the standards are developing, forward them onto the roadshows because they're very helpful, and the council, the developments of the council people who are interested in how their businesses will be impacted will definitely find it interesting to look through the questions, at least in the proposals that we're looking at.
Thank you, Amina. I think from my view, I think I think it's really important that businesses, large, small SMEs, charities, public sector, etc., all understand that the importance of cyber and cybersecurity and protecting your organizational information. And so I think for business leaders, I think it's one to recognize that, and 2, I think it's part of the kind of developments that and we've got a role in actually both promoting and highlighting and kind of magnifying and amplifying the importance of cybersecurity. But there will be, they do have a key role in one understanding that, but also what role they need to play in mitigating kind of the issues in their organizations. So all of us actually have, yes, we have a role as the council, but all of us have a role in making sure that leaders, organization and business leaders are aware of what they basically need to do. And then we've got a role in kind of showcasing and sharing with them what practical roles they can take in doing that. So part of our work as we move forward as a council will be to one kind of showcase models of good practice, but also working with different sectors to really highlight. Let's have a look in the charity sector about the work that's taking place. Have a look, obviously, working with schools or education establishments about what they need to do to get on board, but also to understand how they need to protect their information, because we see what's happening obviously nationally and internationally, and also the kind of in relation to recruitment, to be clear about the different roles, because for example in a charity or in a school you might have a head of IT who protects their information, but they won't see themselves as a cyber expert or within the cybersecurity profession, but they've got a key role in protecting in a school all that information of the children, young people, teachers, parents, etc. So really it's about promoting how people actually get engaged. So again, we've got a role in what's the roles, what's the key skills, and what's the kind of key skills when you're looking at things like CNI also. So that's from, I think, an organizational perspective. Simon?
Yeah, if I could jump in, I think that firstly, there's 2 different things that you mentioned that I think are that I'd like to follow up on. First one is around the question there was about engaging the senior leaders. I think we need to engage everybody. Cybersecurity is not now a group of people sitting in a separate corridor that you go and speak to once every 6 weeks when you're going to do a new project. Cybersecurity is everything. One of the things I was trying to bring out when I was when I was talking with the range of different companies even in our little cluster, it is everything. It's everything from penetration testing to training to marketing of cybersecurity to skills within cybersecurity. There are just so many different parts of it, and cyber is actually it's a thing in itself, and is integral. We all work in cybersecurity. There are a couple of books that I always recommend to people around. Kind of skirt the topic a little bit, but the Unicorn Project and the Phoenix Project by Gene Kim, where they're talking about the fact that in that case, it was the IT department was outside of the manufacturing process. The IT department was over there, and it was just what they did, and they've made the computers work. Now, actually, everybody works in IT, because without the IT, nothing works. And it's the same for the cyber world, I think, that we all have a responsibility to bear with this. So we've all got to make sure that we know what we're doing, and that we're trying to do these things in a better way. The point that you mentioned about skills as well, I think, is also absolutely fantastic. And again, given a Northern Irish context, we've been involved with a project recently with Department for Economy or Department for Education. I'm never sure. I'm going to get in trouble with somebody in some department for getting this wrong. But we've been working with a government department where what we've been trying to do is to produce leaders from our cluster, from our groups, from our people, our contacts, to inspire and speak to careers teachers and tell them, we are cybersecurity professionals. We do look different. There's Claire, who's a security engineer for an American company, but she's based in Belfast. There's Keith, who's a security consultant living in Whitehead, or there's just all of these different people who are doing different things. And that is really important, is to encourage people to talk to careers teachers, because when I was at school, this industry didn't exist. It just didn't exist in any way, shape, or form. So I think that's really important, and I think a really good role of UK CSC would be to kind of get those things going.
Absolutely, and just to follow on that, Simon, I also think that with leaders, very often for cyber professionals and people who maintain kind of the information security do not link into or are line managed by maybe the CEO or MD, etc. So very often they might be in a kind of siloed IT department, when ultimately it's cyber security and information security is part of the business and business risk. So there should absolutely be, from my view, a direct line in, and also an importance of presentation of that key information. It's a business risk and an organization continuity issue. So really importantly that they're having those conversations, and it's part of that kind of business planning cycle and business continuity cycle. So I think that's also another kind of important aspect around leaders understanding. Any other questions there, Lisa?
Yes, we have, bear with me a second. We have one from Sean Hanna, and there are far too many wheels in our industry already. My customers find the choices very confusing already, like how Crest fits in.
Yeah. I'll take that one first. That's really why the council's here. There's an awful lot of certifications, accreditations, routes, job descriptions, job titles, and so really for us, it's really about demystifying the industry, and so making it really clear, how does all this fit together? So as an organization, what we're looking at is, obviously we've got 3 levels we're really focused on around standards on our career route map. So obviously chartership, after receiving the Royal Charter back in November, principal, and also associate. So how does the different qualification, how do different specialisms, penetration testing, security architecture, etc., how does that all fit in, and what's the appropriate qualifications and accreditation? So again, we're mapping all of that work, and again working with UKC3, John and the team, John Davis and the team, just around that kind of mapping exercise, and also with our members of the council, our organisational members, who are then looking at that kind of careers map. So the Crest kind of framework is one of the areas that is part of that wider review. I don't know if Amina or Simon wants to jump in on that one.
Yes, absolutely, I do. From my side, I couldn't agree more, Sean. And it's something that we've experienced a number of times. Is really, really complicated, which what is the pathway for getting our people certified to the right, to the right certification? What do we need to do? How do we do it? Why does it cost the earth in order for us to do that as a as a small organization? We are good at this stuff. We know what we're doing, and yet some of the the certifications and things that are out there actually don't match what real life is. We were comparing some of the stuff in some of the certifications and test exams very recently, and questions about Macromedia Flash, for instance, shouldn't be appearing in some of these questions, considering it's been dead for, I want to say, 10 years now. It's a this needs to update and get things moving, because otherwise we're just going to be stuck with the same old nonsense where you get somebody, yes, they might be good at pen testing a firewall, but when it comes to a web application written in serverless in AWS, not a notion at all. And those are the people where this world is really important. So Sean, thank you for that question. I absolutely agree. The importance of SMEs in this world, especially in Northern Ireland. We've got this Northern Ireland consultation hat on. I can't remember off the top of my head the figures for SMEs in Northern Ireland, but I believe it's in the 90 to 95% range kind of idea. Those are the companies that are driving this forward, and that's what we need to be considering here.
Excellent. Do you want to respond at all, Amina? Any follow-up?
Yeah. So precisely what Simon have said. We definitely agree with you. As part of DCMS and government, that's exactly why the council were brought in, to bring some clarity into the sector. There are a lot of qualifications, and even when we were doing our engagements, with university lecturers, they're saying their students are coming out of university, they don't have the experience needed in order to get jobs in the sector, and the qualifications that are out there are very confusing for them. So it seems to be across the board. There is more clarity needed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amina. Any other questions, Lisa?
Yeah, so I have another question around the timelines. So what are the timelines for developing and embedding standards?
I'm happy to answer that. So what we're basically currently, can everyone hear me okay? I seem to be quite slow coming forward and backwards. Am I coming over okay?
Yep, you're okay from my side.
Okay, excellent. So what we're basically looking at is in relation to development of standards. We're working really closely in relation with NCSC as the obviously technical leads, and looking at the work that was basically as part of the formation, looking at the kind of all of the specific, obviously, specialisms, and then focusing very much on developing at least 4 standards in the next financial year. Which ones is still up for kind of not kind of consultation and really focusing. We want to focus on the ones that's going to create the biggest impact and that will link into our kind of chartership. So we're working through that at the moment. Hopefully by the middle of next month, we should be able to announce what's the first standards that we'll be very much focused on, and that kind of rolling program is kind of the route map for the council. So we're in conversation, just clarifying that at the moment. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Simon. I've got one other question that's in it. I think it might be the final question. So the importance of cybersecurity is becoming and has been very important. So how can we look at engaging the C-suite to take cybersecurity more seriously, ensure it's on their radar, and also encourage them to have skilled professionals on board as well to help protect their organisations?
Simon, do you want to take that first?
Sure thing. Yeah. So we already mentioned a little bit there about engaging in, engaging cybersecurity within the organisation. We've got to make sure that it's a board topic every single time. We've got a new board member in our little company, and one of the things that we always insist on in our board meetings are any cybersecurity issues within our organization as well. We have We use tickets to keep ourselves organized. On each one of those, it says, are there any cybersecurity questions, responsibilities, or requirements needed? If there are, then those then get escalated, if you see what I mean. Those are the things that need to be happening. We need to be understanding the fact that cybersecurity is part of what we all do. It's part of the organization. You need to have, who bears responsibility. That's is very, very important. So do you have a CISO? Do you have a CIO? Do you have a chief risk officer? It doesn't matter what the acronym is. And again, this industry is horrendous for acronyms, as we'll all be aware. But it doesn't matter what the acronym is. It's the responsibility. And also realizing that you can't shift that risk onto somebody else. You can't just say, oh no, that's, supplier takes care of all of that risk. If supplier gets compromised, you're still in a world of trouble. Okay, so it's about accepting responsibility, accepting that risk, and as leaders of leaders of companies, what your job is to understand how security works. I was fortunate enough a couple of weeks ago to be working with Queen's University Belfast School of Management, and we went and did an exercise with them. We did a couple of different exercises. We did the NCSC's exercise in a box, where we were helping them to understand how to deal with a ransomware attack that leads to phishing. And we also did the pretty awesome decisions and disruptions exercise, which is a Lego-based cybersecurity exercise, which is as a bit of a nerd, is two of my favorite things in the whole wide world joined together. And those two, those two exercises, we were focusing on the CEOs of the future, helping them to understand that they don't necessarily need to understand what a firewall is and how it works, but they do need to understand what happens if someone pinches all of their data. That's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I couldn't agree more, Simon. I think what won't add much more to what you've basically already said. But I think for us, it's really around ensuring that people understand the importance of this area. And I think we can't shout any louder than we're shouting at the moment. So I think there's the importance of engaging, obviously, with C-suite, engaging, ensuring leaders understand the importance of cybersecurity, making sure it's on the radar, making sure it's within their plans, making sure it's part of their risk register, making sure it's part of their business continuity. So it's really, for me, we're doing specific events around, working obviously within fintech. So working in the verticals, so around obviously the third sector, public sector, obviously charity sector, etc., and making sure that people understand the importance of this whole area. And we're, and again, it's through the collaboration that we'll be able to basically do that, really shout about the importance of this area. We saw what happened to KP Crisp or KP Snacks a few weeks ago. So no one's invincible. So it's really about putting the right systems in place to protect your organization, but also then having a conversation about how to do that. I know some of the challenges for smaller SMEs is it seems quite expensive too. So it's really then, NCSC puts out some fantastic kind of guidance on how to safeguard your organization, and doing something like cyber essentials, just on that kind of basic level, and really sets a really good benchmark to how to protect on the first kind of phase level to protect your organization. I hope that kind of answers your question, Jeff, and thanks for the question.
Okay, thanks, Simon. I have another question from Jeff as well. Would the consultation consider stronger or compulsory minimum cybersecurity for businesses to operate in Northern Ireland and the UK?
I can take that one.
Yeah, absolutely, Abina.
So I think there is a consultation out on cyber resilience. So if you would to look that up, I'll see if I can find a link for it that you can look up. It's around supporting businesses. I'm not sure if I think it does actually cover Northern Ireland and across the UK. So I'll see if I can get a link to that one.
Any responses to that one, Simon?
Yes. So I know that'll be surprising, but yes, I do. The idea of having minimum cybersecurity, I think, is a really interesting one. We work with companies some of whom take security really, really seriously, and others who are very, very much less doing so. Working with a client just the last week or so, who they haven't upgraded anything in years. They have open connections from the outside world straight into their stuff. They're a long way behind. whether that's a minimum, compulsory standard required to run a business, I think that'd probably be quite tough. But what we should be trying to do is to help the larger companies should be helping their suppliers to become better. So we've already seen that with some of the UK government stuff, where you see that you have to be Cyber Essentials certified, and that's not the be all and end all, as we're all aware, by any stretch of the imagination. But it's a start. It's got you thinking about security.
Yeah.
We are sometimes brought in by companies to help them fill in those 800 question forms about the security of you as a supplier. And as a small company, that is really difficult to do. So what you've got to do is you've got to balance those two things. You've got to work with your suppliers, realize that your suppliers are your lifeblood, and make sure that they are there and able to operate. The FCA do some fantastic stuff around operational resilience, which is well worth investigating. And requiring that organisations hit a certain benchmark, and also making sure that their suppliers hit a certain benchmark. Things like that. If you want to be registered with the FCA, so things like that. I'm loath to say government says you can't operate unless you've had a pen test twice a year. I mean, yes, make that happen from a company perspective, but from a real life perspective, no, that's not. I don't think that'll work. I don't think that's a good idea. I think what is much more important is to make sure that you are working with your suppliers and helping them to become much more secure. If that trickle down kind of idea, I think is a better one.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Simon. I mean, I've got nothing to add to that. I completely agree with it. It's ditto. Completely agree with everything you basically said there, Simon. And thanks again, Jeff and Sean. Been really active with the questions. So thank you very much. It's been really, really good. Thank you. Lisa, any more?
Yeah, I got another one just coming from Sean Hannah. Does a director's duty not include IS and cyber already?
Anyone like to take that one?
I mean, I can jump in as director of our company, as a director of vertical structure. I feel that my duty includes information security and cyber already, because I know that what happens is that if my company is compromised, we are in a we'll lose money, and my duty there is to protect the company and to protect those things. I think that a lot of organizations aren't aware of the fact that if they get compromised, that bad things happen. Again, working with and a lot of examples that we have, you can't talk about, which is quite irritating. But in their case, there are steps that they could have taken to help improve what would have happened, and that comes down from the director, from the CEO, from the leader of the organization's role. I think so, Sean. I think that you need to be asking those questions as a leader. Again, one of the reasons why when we're working with Queen's, we were trying to focus on the CEOs of the future and pushing that down and saying, when you are running a company, this is really important to you. So as you say just there, Sean, it might be a good angle to approach the issue, kind of saying, as a director, you are responsible for this in the same way that you are responsible if you do money laundering, or you do X, or you do Y. The directors can be held responsible. Yeah. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, completely agree. I think so yes, it's within the duties, but sometimes the focus is not on information security or cybersecurity. So I think it's really important that for whether it's directors in relation to the board directors or trustees in charities, that basically everyone gets training. So part of that board development is around some training, as part of that understanding their roles and responsibilities, as part of the roles and responsibilities, understanding information security and cybersecurity, because ultimately there is liability attached. So I think but again, that's around, especially, if you have board members who's been around for years, who then have no update kind of skills development training, then what you would then find is things have moved on. There's new kind of tools and techniques to secure your organization on business continuity level, risk level, and security level, and they may not be aware. So for me, annual training of board members, it could be an hour, 2 hours, but annual training, updating on the latest thinking, and to put the appropriate measures in place is absolutely key and essential. So yes, it exists, but do they action? Sometimes not. Lisa?
Lovely. I think that was the last of our questions, unless anybody else has got any more for our panelists today. No, I think that was the end of the question, Simon.
Excellent, excellent. I was going to say, go in once, go in twice.
Yeah.
But again, can I just thank everyone that's participated. I know we've got a lot, of, like being on the radio, a lot of silent listeners. but for those who have been active in relation to the questions, etc., I found it really, really, really helpful, really informative. Thank you for your questions and thank you for your time and your input. Any final bits from yourself, Simon, first, and then I'll go over to you, Amina.
No, well, just to say thank you very much for having me on board. I think that there are some really interesting points that have been raised there. I think that there will be some good stuff coming out of the UK CSC. I've already seen, even over the last 2 or 3 months, when since Simon's become involved, we've seen some really interesting things starting to happen here. So, I wish you luck, Simon. You have all of our support. If there's anything that any of us over here in Northern Ireland can do, and hopefully I'm speaking for Sean and the rest of the people in the from the Northern Ireland groups. If there's anything you need in that support, please do call us. But no, thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Amina. It was really interesting to hear, and thanks, Simon, for hosting.
No, thanks very much. Thank you, Simon. As I said, I'm really, really pleased. We did have the initial thoughts just around having just one event UK wide, but I'm really pleased we focused on the devolved nations and actually having these conversations. And again, thanks to everyone for actively engaging. So really impressed with the work that's taken place, and really important people know the great work that's taken place in Northern Ireland. So now Wales and Scotland are really going to be interested in what you're coming up with, because some good stuff taking place. But thanks everyone for engaging, and absolutely fantastic. Amina, over to yourself.
Just to say thank you, and please send your responses into the consultation, because we'd love to hear from you. Anyone with an interest in cyber, so students studying cyber, anyone. Yeah, but thank you, everyone.
No, thank you, Amina. And just to finish off from my side, just to say a massive thank you. So thank you again for everyone engaging. Exactly as Amina said, this was an opportunity to have the conversations with the authors and the owners of the consultation. Sometimes people don't really get these kind of opportunities. So one, it was important we've done that, and thank you to Amina and the team for joining us and obviously facilitating the session. And I think for the rest of the country, really to watch out for our roadshows that are coming down the road. But key thing, feed into the consultation. Deadline date is March the 20th. So whether, exactly as Amina said, whether you are in a small organization, SME, you're involved in cybersecurity, share your views and perspectives, because I think that's the only way we could really make, your voices need to be heard. So really, for me, actually engage in that, and do share with your contacts and networks. So again, thank you very much. Obviously, do check out our website. We've got loads of events taking place: International Women's Day, London Symposium. So do join us, Cyborg event. And tomorrow we've got an event with SASIG related to the Skills Festival. So check out our website, all the events, and keep connected. Thank you very much indeed, and have a great day.